So I've been running a development agency, development company for the better part of almost 3 years now. This development software company has brought me a very good quality of life, and as a result, a lot of people have been asking about kind of setting things up and basically how to set up their own development agencies and things like that. Now, there's there are a lot of things I'd be thinking about and focusing on, but I wanted to share kind of one of the biggest things. And like, if I had to pick one singular thing to focus on, if I were to start a development agency from scratch, it would be reputation. And I say reputation because reputation is basically the kind of invisible hand that pushes you up or down as a company. And like, reputation is what affords you pricing power. It is what affords you more clients, word of mouth, referrals. Like that is what reputation is worth. And downstream from that, like, okay, well, how do you harvest that and things like that? Reputation comes from doing really, really good work. And so, like, that I think is one of the biggest focuses that I would have if I was starting something today. And I would honestly start by just doing free work, because that is a very, very good way to build reputation. As a reputation for somebody, like, basically the first thing that you want is you want to build a reputation of doing good work. And how do you do good work for people if you don't have clients? Well, the first thing you do is you find a client. What's the easiest way to find a client? Just do stuff for free, because you always have somebody that wants something for free. And so you can very, very quickly find people who want work done for zero cost. And then slowly add, you can move up that cost. And I think, like, Alex Hormozy talks a lot about this, and he's got good frameworks on it. But that is something that I would start with. Just focus on getting projects in, even if they don't pay super well. And, like, if you're a software developer, that means you can do the work by yourself. And so start by doing that. Don't start with a team immediately, and just start by building reputation as somebody who does really, really good work. And then when you hire people, you have the responsibility of making sure that work is maintained. I've been running this for 3 years, and I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to start talking about it, is because I know that I think I could save a lot of people a lot of pain, because I certainly could have saved that pain for myself. But a very big mistake I made is that from day one, from my very first contract, like, I used to do stuff as a freelancer. I built a lot of stuff for free. But as soon as I got my paid contract, I started to outsource very quickly, because I wanted to, I wanted to work on higher leverage things and kind of like build the team and this, that, and the other. And I was working with contractors per project. These are not like full-time employees like I have now. Like, now I have a full-time team. Before, I basically just got per project people. And so I'd find some random guys. I wouldn't vet them properly. I'd barely, I do like some kind of brief interview with them. Nothing technical, nothing remotely technical. It was a very qualitative interview, and like, qualitative in terms of like soft skills kind of stuff. And my quality of work went down so much. Like, it was not the kind of standard that I would be producing. And that was a big mistake that I made. And if I were starting from scratch, I would really encourage people to be careful with that, and also to push up their own standards. The reality is, you're probably not as good as you think you are. If you haven't, like, it genuinely comes down to the amount of stuff that you've done, but you get better with every single rep you do. And if you haven't had that many reps, you're probably not doing that good work. I know this because I look back at some of the early applications that I designed, and they're not that good. And even today, like, now I can, like, with every project, I'm seeing how I'm improving. And the biggest thing, you must always hold higher standards than your clients. That is how you afford higher paying clients who will give you more money and all that. Too many people think they've done good work, when the reality is it's not that good. Like, the truth is, it is not as good as you think it is. And that is not, I realize that this is not easy to hear, because your ego obviously wants to defend your work. And especially if you're somebody who takes pride in your work, that's hard to hear. But if you are able to recognize that, you will generally be able to move a lot faster. And I say this, like, in terms of design and functionality, like, things need to be smooth and crisp and really, really good. And that is how you build good reputation. And when you do that for free, you will start to have people lining up to get your work. And when you have a line, that's when you push prices up. And that is a really, really good way of basically kind of like working that. And I made that mistake. I had a lot of experience having done stuff for free and for like sweat equity that never really paid off, which is effectively still for free, basically. But when I started the agency, I didn't want to do that anymore. And I started trying to command agency prices very quickly. And I did get a few deals at very good prices. And matter of fact, I actually made a video in the first deal that I signed for this agency, which was 11 or so grand, which is very big and the biggest, sum of money that I had seen in my account ever at the time. And, I thought, okay, happy days. I'm just going to sign 10 more of these and I'll have 100. I was so wrong. But I actually, like maybe a year in, I actually started to lower my prices because I realized that I needed more volume. I just needed more deal flow and more practice at building stuff. And that was a big mistake that I made of like trying to start too high. And just, don't be afraid to kind of build your way up, which I wanted to get ahead of myself. And I know that I struggle with impatience. And if you do too, like watch out for that. It's a very, very easy trap to fall into. But yeah. And you can't always necessarily do that because as you build a team, you then start to have certain costs. And like, I cannot go below certain prices nowadays because I have a team that I need to sustain, or I can only go below certain prices when we have enough base projects that like get our costs covered, or we have enough runway in the bank or something like that. But even at my scale, like it can still be worth, like free work is a really powerful tool if you use it correctly. The problem is free work isn't scalable. So you have to be specific about who you pick to give that free work to, right? So you can't give it to everybody. So pick very carefully, who do you want to work for free for? Can they give you a good testimonial? Do they have a good reputation themselves? Are they in the industry that you'd like to focus on? Are they building a project that you would like to build? You can't do 100 projects for free. That's not a very good plan. But if you can do one or two, who would you do them for? That is an important question. And I think even as you scale things up, you can still find places where it makes sense to do free work. Like, if a brand is big enough, I'll do free work for them just to get them on my portfolio because that's worth it for me. Like fundamentally, that is worth it to bring their logo onto my portfolio because it creates credibility and stuff like that. Like people pay in money and in social status, right? That's, yeah. But, I gotta take a call. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. But it's just like my main point is don't be afraid to build stuff for free if it builds your reputation. Like reputation is above all the thing that you must maintain if you want to grow an agency, because it is the multiplying force that you will get when you talk to people, right? Like, have they heard good things about you or not so good things? If they've heard mixed reviews, like that's gonna push your bargaining power down. And I don't think I acted with enough of that in mind. Like I let projects with lower standards slip because it was easier, and I got lazy and I got complacent. And that was a very big mistake of mine. And I took longer to learn that lesson than I perhaps needed to. Like, if I can point that out for you and save you a lot of time, then great. If you want to be stubborn, go ahead and learn it yourself like I did, then good luck as well. I'm sure you'll get there eventually. Anyway, if you are a developer and, or just generally somebody who's interested about software agencies and that kind of stuff, or what I'm up to, like ask in the comments, whatever questions. I look at comments for video ideas. So, and I post on a daily basis. So, we'll very gladly answer any questions that people ask.